Welcome to the Abundance Hack Show, where we are inspiring you to ditch the outdated beliefs, release the blocks, and fully embrace your sovereignty so you can confidently expand to allow more love, joy, and aligned success in your life. I am Niajae, your conscious accountability partner, reminding you that abundance is your birthright. Hey M&Ms, thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. What are you manifesting in your life today? So a while back, I used to do Facebook Lives every single day for like a year and a half straight. And then after a year and a half, I went down to doing like every other day. And I kind of missed that live element because I gave myself an opportunity to just speak and share what's on my heart. And it wasn't planned. It wasn't scripted. I didn't edit out certain things. And I want to try to do that with today's episode. I do have some notes so I stay focused. But where are you tuning in from? Definitely screenshot wherever you are listening or watching and tag me on Instagram so I can share the love. All right, so in this episode, I am going to talk about confessions of a stubborn vessel. So I came up with this concept and I was telling my partner, I'm like, babe, I feel like I want to start a blog called Confessions of a Stubborn Vessel. And he laughed and he's like, that's so good. And obviously I'm not going to start a blog because I'm so busy as it is, but I do want to share what prompted this. And I've shared a little bit on this podcast about how I received the message that you are a vessel and God will use you how he sees fit. And I received this message at a young age. Let's just say I was 13. And I was like, no, thank you. No, thank you. I'll pass. I don't want to be a vessel. I want my life to be about me. I don't want God to use me, you know, how he sees fit, because in my head, it was just like, okay, you're meant to do these things and then that's it, your chopped liver, like toss you to the side once you've done what you're meant to do. So that's how I pictured it in my head of like, you're this little chess piece that's going to be moved around so you can do these things in the world. And then after, boop, you're done. And I know that it sounds ridiculous. Here's the thing. I thought about this long and hard over the years, like how much do I want to share? Because this may sound crazy, this may sound ridiculous, this may sound selfish, like whatever. I'm sure people are going to have their own perspective of how it sounds to them. But the thing about it is, so many times we hide our truth. We hide our truth because we're worried about people judging us, when really it's us judging ourselves. And if I share my truth, I give someone else the courage to share their truth. So this is my truth. This is me being honest, because I was telling my partner, I'm like, be spiritual, they say. Live your purpose, they say. Like, it'll be fun, they say. But really, like, sometimes it is hard and life kicks your ass. So if I stand up here and I say, oh, it's great to raise your level of consciousness and go on this journey of spirituality and have an awakening and live your purpose, and I make it look glamorous and sound fabulous all the time, then when someone's getting their ass kicked, they're going to be like, why is this so hard for me and it's so easy for everyone else? So it is important to me that I be honest and transparent and let you know that, yeah, I didn't want this, because sometimes life does kick my ass and sometimes it is hard and sometimes it is uncomfortable. And I did a Facebook post today because I always say, like, how easy will you allow it to be? And it's not saying that it's going to be easy. So I want to clarify, when I say how easy will you allow it to be, it's not saying that this journey or this path is going to be easy, but how much are you resisting and how can you release that resistance so you're flowing? Instead of fighting upstream, you're flowing with the stream. You're not going against the current, because that's even harder. So I just wanted to clarify that. By no means do I ever want anyone to think that I'm like, oh, spirituality is easy, alignment is easy, like live an abundant life and it's gonna be a piece of cake. No. So, you know, I'm in the arena getting my ass kicked, but the thing is, what I share on this podcast is that we have healing modalities for us to use to bring ourselves back to a place of peace when life is kicking your ass. Bring ourselves back to a place of alignment when something is thrown off, and things will get thrown off. Things will challenge you, and the higher goals you set, the more they're going to challenge you. The more you're going to come up on those feelings of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. If you're not experiencing some self-doubt at some point, you're not aiming high enough. So it's so funny because I read a lot of posts. I'm in a ton of Facebook groups, and people are like, oh, why do I keep having this self-doubt when I've done all the things? I meditate and I've done inner child work. And, you know, there's not a one size fits all, poof, self-doubt is gone forever. That's not how it works. Life is going to continue to challenge you. Life is going to throw your chakras off. So something may happen. You go for a new opportunity, a bigger, better opportunity, something brand new that you haven't experienced. Let's say you're on the cover of a magazine, or you're featured in, you know, a famous blog, or, you know, you're speaking in front of thousands of people. That is going to trigger some self-doubt, or some worry, or some concern, or some fear. The goal is to have tools to bring you back to a place of inner trust and peace and alignment. It's not saying that, oh, if you do this, you're going to be aligned forever. No. So I just really want people to understand that. And for me, it's so funny. I was talking to someone today, and I'm just like, you know, everyone's searching for their purpose, and I feel like I was given my purpose at a young age, and I'm like, nope, no thank you. I don't want it. Like, you know, and I had to like really think about this. So when I was younger and I received that message, I was in church, and I was raised Christian. So I was in church, and the preacher, it literally was like, this message was like directly for me. And I don't even know like if it's exactly what the preacher said, but like, this is my first time receiving a download. At the time, I didn't know it was a download, but now, you know, with my journey, I understand it was a clear, direct message for me that you are a vessel, and God will use you as he sees fit to make a difference in the world. And I was just like, no, thank you. Because like, I wanted my life to be about me. At the time, I wanted to be a singer. I thought I was going to be the next Beyonce or Rihanna. That's a whole nother story. But like, I wanted to make people dance, and I wanted to, you know, create music that made people feel good. That's what I wanted for my life. I saw that for my life. And so I felt like this, you know, vessel thing at the time, I'm 13, so obviously I couldn't process, but I thought that this was just gonna be like this boring, very like structured life where I have to do all these things and I can't have fun. It didn't sound fun to me. So I was like, no, thank you. And I share this because if someone has experienced this, I want you to know that you're not alone. If you're like, you know, I feel like this is my purpose, but I don't want it, you're not alone, you know, because I think that everyone's like, oh, purpose is so amazing and we need it. And granted, we do if it keeps nudging you until you listen, period. If you want to feel fulfilled, you have to follow your purpose. And I learned that the hard way because I'm very stubborn. And yeah, eventually I was like, okay, universe. So anyway, fast forward, I went to an Abraham Hicks event, and this was my next time clearly receiving a download. Now I receive downloads all the time, but I never noticed that they're downloads, but this was like clear. So just like that message at 13, this was clear. I went to an Abraham Hicks event. I miscalculated the time. I was frustrated, blah, blah, blah. So the details don't matter, but I received a download that said that event wasn't for you. That event was for you to learn the lessons and then go back and teach them. And you're meant to interview these two people on my podcast. And I was like, holy shit, what just happened? Because like, it was a clear message that I heard. So I'm very clairaudient. That's one of my strongest clair abilities. And I broke down and cried because I was like, here it is again. I'm a vessel. I have to do these things. And so I'm just like, I don't want to be a vessel. Like, what about me? Because I thought that, like, if my purpose is to just serve, that doesn't leave room for me to enjoy life. And I share this because I know that someone feels the same way, and I want you to know that you are not alone. People don't talk about these things. So sometimes, look, I'm getting emotional. Sometimes I'm torn between what is oversharing and what I should share that someone really needs to hear. But I think that this is a topic that someone really needs to hear, because a lot of people are searching for their purpose, and a lot of people don't understand why they don't understand their purpose, or maybe they do understand their purpose, but subconsciously there's something blocking them from fully stepping into their power, their purpose, and their sovereignty. So I want to share the things that were causing me to resist stepping into my purpose, and then share the 5 things that I did to release the resistance and fully step into it. And I'm still working on it. So it's not like, I did these 5 things and poof, I've stepped into my purpose. But it's a gradual thing that I continuously do to continue to serve at the capacity that I am meant to serve. So one of the reasons I didn't want to step into my purpose is because it felt big. It felt like a lot of responsibility. And, when we are afraid of responsibility, is because we're afraid of dropping the ball. And I felt like, okay, I have this responsibility, so I have to be more responsible. So I can't be careless. I can't be reckless. I can't make mistakes. I have to always do the right thing. And that just felt like a lot of responsibility. So what if I have a bad day? What if I drop the ball? What if, I fall off the bandwagon in some way? Because we all have days. There's days where I want to sit home and eat ice cream and, sulk. Being honest, like there's days, where I don't feel like being strong, and I don't feel like carrying the weight of the world. That's what it felt like to me. Like if I have this responsibility to help people step into their power and show them that there's more, then I have to always be doing that. And so I created this picture of like, this is a lot of work and this is really heavy and I don't want to carry it. And so that was kind of me not knowing how strong I am. And I think that we all are very strong, and we don't know how strong we are. We are powerful beyond our belief. Powerful beyond our belief. And you are divinely guided and protected when you are living your purpose. So you don't have to carry the weight on your own, because the universe has your back. And I know that it may sound cheesy. I know it's a book, but like, the universe does have your back, and the universe will always provide the things that you need to live out your purpose. Like, you're not in this alone. We all are in this together as a collective, healing and growing and expanding. And that's what it's about. So that was one thing. And then the second thing that was really, really big for me is that I thought I would have to change. And I'm like, I kind of like who I am. So like, I don't want to change, and like, this is just me being really honest and transparent. I'm like, there are days when I am a mess. Like, I am so scatterbrained, you guys, at times. Like, I'm getting better, but there are times and there are days where I am scatterbrained. I'm all over the place and I'm a mess. I'm like, I'm discombobulated and that's it. I'm a hot mess. And so I felt like if I step into this purpose, I can't be a hot mess. I have to always have it together. And that's one thing that I think a lot of people think about me is like, oh, you'll be fine. You'll always have it together, or you always have it together. And I'm like, no, I don't, but the thing about it is we are human and we have to be gentle with ourselves. No one has it together 24/7. It does not exist. No one has it together 24/7, every day, all day. No one does. And I'm sure, like, let's take people at the peak, Like, let's take Oprah. Oprah has bad days and she will tell you about them. Tony Robbins has bad days, but we create this picture of this like picture perfect person, and then we compare ourselves to these picture perfect people, but it's the picture that we painted ourselves. I could tell people until I'm blue in the face that I have bad days and they still see me as like picture perfect. So it's almost like we create this, well, I have to hold myself up to this standard of like what people think of me, you know. And there's even memes that are like, be the person your dog thinks you are. You know, and so we create these standards for ourselves that sometimes are impossible to achieve because no one is perfect. No one has it together 24/7. That is the reality. So that was one thing. I'm a mess sometimes. You guys, I am a mess sometimes, and I will own that, and I don't feel bad about it because I'm growing and I'm always looking for ways to be better, and I'm always looking for ways to have it together, to be focused, to be more present. And that's what's important, is that I'm living intentionally and I'm trying to be the best version of myself, and who I am today is the best version of myself up until this very point, because I choose to be every single day. So tomorrow I'm going to choose to be the best version of myself. And even days when I have a bad day, that's still the best version of me because I am honoring whatever's going on. I'm present in where I am in my journey. So the next thing that made me not want to step into my purpose is the fact that I love wine. I love wine. And so I'm like, okay, if I'm like, you know, a coach or motivational speaker or energy healer or sound therapist or any of these things, and I'm like really changing lives, I'm gonna be judged if I have wine at dinner because I'm very active on social media. If you're not following me, definitely go follow me on Instagram. I share the most on Instagram, but follow me on Facebook, follow me on Instagram and YouTube. So I'm like, I can't drink wine because people are gonna judge me. And I've had energy healers say like, oh, like don't drink and be an energy healer kind of thing. So a lot of times when we fear being judged, it's us judging ourselves, you know? And here's the thing, everything is moderation. Everything is moderation. And I understand the difference in enjoying a glass of wine with dinner or socially drinking with friends and drinking to numb the pain of the world or numb the pain of whatever challenge we have in life, to numb the pain. There is a difference, and being aware of that, having self-discipline, having personal power is important. And it's also, that's all in our solar plexus. That's all in our solar plexus, our sense of personal power and discipline and self-worth. And, you know, that's the chakra that controls addiction as well. So if your solar plexus is thrown off balance, then it can make you susceptible to addiction and obsessions and, you know, binge eating and stuff like that. Like, we are emotional beings. Like we eat comfort food because we're trying to fill some type of internal void. And the thing about it is, I felt like if I'm teaching people about this, I have to be the perfect example. I have to model it. I can't drink, or I can't, you know, eat a pint of ice cream when I'm super emotional. But yes, I can. Yes, I can, because it's like, I understand how you feel. And I know that, like, I'm very disciplined, and I'm very like personal power and personal mastery is like my jam. So I know when to say, okay, I feel like I want to eat some ice cream and like watch something emotional, you know, like, oh, I just have to tell you really quick. So my partner totally watched Brene Brown with me the other day, her Netflix special. And it was the cutest thing. I was in my feelings and I'm like, I need some Brene Brown in my life. And he like bought me some ice cream from Trader Joe's and watched Brene Brown with me. It's so cute. But like, the reality is, I am human. I am human, and I have those days. And if I didn't have those days, I wouldn't understand what other people go through. How can I show up on this podcast and be transparent and vulnerable with you if I'm not in the arena getting my ass kicked as well? Life kicks my ass sometimes, but that's how I know, like, That's how I know how to stand up and serve and offer tools, because I use these tools and I implement them in my life. I integrate everything that I talk about in my life. I'm playing my sound bowls when I'm like, okay, this chakra is way out of line today. I'm doing the work. And that's what makes me able to fully step into my power when I thought that that was actually working against me. Am I making sense? Let me know wherever you are tuning in. Screenshot this and let me know. Like, tag me on Instagram and let me know if this is making sense, because sometimes it's the things that we think work against us, or the things that we think are flaws, or the things that we are afraid of people judging us about. Those are the things that actually make us relatable and actually make people feel us on a deeper level. And sharing that is powerful. Look, I'm emotional. You guys, I'm so emotional. But we have to allow ourselves to feel the feels, you know?
If you were looking for a sign, here it is. This is your reminder to not settle, to know your worth, and to follow your bliss. This is a reminder to maintain alignment and show up in your fullest expression. Abundant and Aligned Society is an accountability program to remind you that you are a powerful being and you deserve to live the life you truly desire. Go to niajae.com/society to join in on the magic, because life is meant to be abundant.
The next thing is that I'm super silly. Like, I love to laugh. Like, literally, like, I will find anything to laugh at. I laugh at myself all the time. Like, if you've been listening to this podcast, you know, like, I giggle like every 3 minutes. So it's like, if I'm like, I'm super silly. I love being silly because I believe that laughter is the best medicine. And, you know, it's releasing those happiness chemicals every time we laugh. So I used to hide my silliness because I'm like this business owner and this entrepreneur, and I have to appear strong and I have to appear this way for people to take me seriously. And I realized I had so many limiting beliefs around how I had to present myself. I'm a Black woman with purple hair. So already, like, that's a little bit of rebellion on my end of like, okay, well, I don't want to be categorized, so I'm going to put myself in my own category, my own lane. Like that's part of a little rebellion, but a little artistic expression. And it's like, if you're going to judge me, you're going to judge me on my terms, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, it's already so many stigmas and so many stereotypes. So I'm like, okay, well, if I'm going to be judged, it's going to be on my terms. I'm going to put this in your face, like my purple hair, for example. So if you want to judge me, it's what I'm choosing for you to judge me about. Like, these are like, we have so many like weird or random, just like subconscious patterns and thoughts and all these things. But like, the work is really peeling the layers back and finding out, where does that come from? Where does that come from? What's stemming from it? Is it from a place of fear of judgment, or is it from a place of alignment because this is my artistic expression? And sometimes it's a little bit of both, but knowing that is powerful. Knowing where your beliefs stem from. Knowing, are they from a place of pain and trauma and fear and scarcity? Or is it from a place of like, this is me in my fullest expression, and I am an artist and I want to express myself in this way? So really fine-tuning that. But part of me felt like I had to show up a certain way, and I can't be silly, and I hide and I shrink in so many different situations because I want to be taken seriously. But it's like, at what point do you own who you are and your gifts and your sovereignty? Like, we have to own our sovereignty. Like, I started my first business at 19. I've owned a brick and mortar business for years. I sold a brick and mortar business. Like, I don't have anything to prove to anyone. I can be silly and still run a business, you know? So it's like, it's really that inner work. Like, let's peel the layers back and get to the core of our shit. And one of the things that I've had to do recently is really face my shit And everything that I feared about being judged or about not being taken seriously, that was me still not owning my power and owning my sovereignty. And so doing the work. And then the last thing is alignment. So I shared this on my post today. I put on Facebook that because my brand is all about abundance and alignment, like I had to really figure out what that meant to me. And if you've been listening to this podcast, you know every guest that comes on, I ask, what does abundance mean to you? Because abundance means something different to everyone. And one of the beliefs that I had in reference to alignment is that it's harder to do the right thing. Like, it's easy to just like, you know, be kind of a scam artist. It's easy to just take people's money and run or whatever. And like, to do the right thing, to build a business from a place of integrity is harder. It's more work. This is an underlying belief that I had. Like that quote, the nice person always finishes last. That was an underlying belief that I had. And so I saw me like living my purpose and stepping into my power and really doing this is, it's gonna be hard because I'm doing the right thing and I'm living my life the right way. Cause I'm like, I'm like so ridiculous. I'm like, can I just like start an OnlyFans and just like twerk for a living? You know what I mean? Like, I'm joking, you guys. I'm totally joking. But like sometimes I feel like there's a lot of people too. There's a lot of healers that feel like, you know, oh, you can't make money healing. You can't make money doing this. And then you have teachers, for example, like teachers, they're so important and so needed, but a lot of them are struggling financially and they don't have the luxurious lives. So figuring out that formula, for me, everyone's formula is different, to where like, I want a luxurious life. Like, I'm all about luxury. Like, I ooze luxury from like my being. So like, I want that, and I want to serve, and I could have both. And I think that as much as I preach it, and I've always preached it because that's always been my brand, I think that there was still some underlying core beliefs that I had to work through that were contradictory to what I wanted. Let me know if I'm making sense, you guys, because I know I'm going a little deep here. But like I believe in alignment, I believe in abundance, but I had some core beliefs, like some pre-programming that contradicted it. The nice person always finishes last. Like, it's harder to do the right thing. And these are things that I had to address. And I'm still addressing them. There's still more, like, it's a blooming onion. We're constantly growing and expanding and, you know, getting to the stuff that we've stuffed down, like the programming that we picked up throughout our lives, the stuff that we were told when we were 8 years old that has always stayed stuck in our subconscious. This is the work. And the fact that I'm playing the sound bowls and I'm constantly in that theta state, so I'm seeing the core beliefs. Like, I literally, it's almost like I could just like pick them out, like, okay, here's a core belief that I don't like, poof, gone. Here's a core belief that I don't like, poof, gone. We have to update our belief system. So I know I'm talking a lot this episode, but it's really, really powerful when you are ready to step into your power and sovereignty. These are things that are going to come up, not the exact beliefs that I had, but I just want you to know there are going to be things and stuff that comes up that you have to face in order to overcome it, to fully step into your power. So those were the reasons why I resisted. And I'm like, no, thank you. I don't want to be a vessel. I'm just going to go over here and just like live my life and be fabulous and like whatever. Like, that is like what I felt. But the thing is, if we don't move towards our purpose, life is empty and life is shallow and life is superficial. And, you know, we may have all the things that we want. I had a luxurious life, but it felt empty. And I'm like, okay, I have all the things that they say are going to make me happy, but I'm not happy and something's missing. And what some people do is they mask it with drugs or alcohol or, you know, weed or gambling or porn or video games. Like they numb that nagging feeling. And I shouldn't say nagging because nagging sounds bad. Nagging has a negative connotation, but they numb that tugging, you know? It's like your inner being tugging at you because you're meant to gravitate towards your purpose, and they numb it with some type of substance or behavior, and that's what leads to depression. That's what leads to anxiety. You're not listening to your intuition. You're not listening to that divine guidance that's trying to guide you. You're numbing it and quieting it with drugs and alcohol and gambling and porn and video games, etc., etc., etc. And overworking is also an addiction and can become obsessive. And also social media, mindless scrolling, because you're not listening to your intuition, your inner voice. You're mindlessly scrolling on social media. It's addictive. And I'm not saying like everything in moderation. So you can drink a glass of wine, is totally fine. But if you're drinking a glass of wine to numb what's going on, that's a different story. So again, discipline sits in our solar plexus. And I'm finding that our solar plexus is a really, really important chakra, like really important. So I'll probably do another episode just on the solar plexus. All right. So here's the thing. When I had the belief that doing the right thing was harder, I had to dissect this. Like, who's to say what's wrong or right? There is no wrong or right way to live your life. Everyone's journey, everyone's path is different. So like me saying like, okay, I gotta do the right thing and this is what right looks like for me. Why can't I just like start an OnlyFans and like twerk? Like that may be the right thing for some people, you know? Like there are like artists and dance instructors that teach twerk for a living. That may be the right thing for some people. So really establishing your own personal right or wrong. So I had to establish my own personal right or wrong, not according to what my parents says, not according to what society says, what I feel is right or wrong. And then establishing where we're basing our values and standards. So everyone's values and standards are different. It's so important to establish your own value system and your own standards. We hold ourselves like I was saying, no matter how hard I work, it's never enough. It's never enough. And I'm like, but what is enough? What is enough? Where is that bar of like, this is enough? And where am I basing that standard from? Is that my own standard or is this society standard? Is that my own standard or was this like my mom's standard? So really figuring out where your value system is, where your personal standards are, and where you're basing them from. Is it based on what society says? Society says by my age I should be married, I should live in a house with a white picket fence and a dog. That's society's standard. I'm not there. So of course, if I base my standard on what society says, I'm always gonna feel like I'm falling short. I'm always gonna feel like I'm not doing enough because I don't have those things. So when I say, I'm gonna develop my own standard, and this is where I think I should be, because that's where I feel I should be, because I know that like, ultimately we are where we're meant to be, but that changes everything. So then it's like, oh, how could I not do enough when I'm creating my own standard? And I am writing my own story. I am embracing my own journey. Okay? Powerful stuff, you guys. Powerful. All right. So let me, because I know I've been talking a lot. I get worked up when I get into things like this. So that's why I was like, all right, let me have notes to make sure that I stay on topic because I can go forever. The 5 things that I had to do and that I continuously do to release the resistance and fully step into my purpose. Number 1 is I had to get clear on my values and standards. Like that was that was a pivotal moment for me, because I realized that a lot of my values I based on my mom. Like, my mom would have did this, and, you know, I'm not doing this, so like I'm doing good, or, you know, whatever. Like, my brain works in kind of a crazy way, but I based a lot of what I did on my mom, like how my mom's life was. And because, you know, our parents are kind of what we grow up, we establish our belief system around the age of 8. So we're looking at our parents, their lives, and what they say, and that's where we get our first belief system. So I was basing a lot of that. But the thing is, like, when you're 8 or 15 or even 21, that works. But when you get older, you have to update your belief system and establish your own set of standards and your own values, and not base it on your parents and not base it on society. So that was the first important thing. It doesn't matter like what my mom or parents or grandparents say. What do I feel is right? What do I feel is in integrity? What do I feel my life should look like? Really establishing your own values and standards without the influence of your parents and society. Society, especially society, do not base your value system or standards on society, because that's a recipe for disaster. It tells you to check all these boxes, and, you know, but like, how many people do it and they're still not happy? So really establishing what you want your life to look like for you. So the next thing is checking my ego. So I've explained, I don't believe that ego is a bad thing. Ego is designed to protect our inner child. And so doing inner child work is really powerful. And I find that when certain things happen in my life, I've started saying to myself, you're okay. You're okay. Because we freak out, you know, we freak out over things like, I'll share one personal thing. If you haven't tuned into my daddy issues episode, like, I used to have abandonment issues, and I realized I was pushing people away because I was afraid of loving someone and then them leaving me. And so when certain things happen and my inner child wants to kind of, you know, like, go back to that like negative rabbit hole of abandonment, I just have to tell my inner child, you're okay, you're safe. It's like, so my dog Diva, she's a little crazy, and I'm just like, she kind of jumps at a lot of things because she's tiny. She's only 3 pounds, so naturally. But like, it's almost like sometimes I have to like pet her. Like, she hears a loud noise and she's like, oh shit. But I'm like, you're okay. So it's kind of like, this may sound bad, but like petting your inner child, you know? I have to come up with a better way to say that. Soothing your inner child, because petting sounds bad. But I'm a fur mom, so, you know, like, my fur babies. Anyway, so loving your inner child, reinforcing that you're safe, reinforcing that you're okay. And so life is going to challenge you. Like, you know, relationships come and go, like, money comes and goes, business comes and goes. Like, it is an ebb and flow. There are going to be light and dark times in life. There are going to be challenges. It's a roller coaster. You're going to have fabulous times. You're going to have challenging times. But no matter what, you're okay and you're safe. It's important to feel safe during your journey. It's important to feel divinely protected. I just did a energy clearing reading thing with Danielle Laura. So I've interviewed her before. Amazing intuitive healer, and, you know, she said, like, I'm divinely protected, and as much as I love that, I'm like, I believe we're all divinely protected. But it's like us feeling safe, and feeling safe to follow our dreams, feeling safe to follow our purpose, to step into it, feeling safe taking on that responsibility. And I think that we all, in that sense, are divinely protected. I love to just believe that it's just me because I'm fabulous. But honestly, I believe we all are. We all are. And the more you follow your purpose, the more you are going to be protected, because that's why you're here. You're here to break through all of the blocks to fully step into your sovereignty. So of course the universe is going to protect you, and some of the challenges may make it seem like you're not divinely protected, but it's part of the journey. It's something you have to overcome to sharpen that sword, to really strengthen what you need to live out your purpose, and to face the journey, to get through the journey, and hopefully enjoy the journey. All right, let me move on. The third one is being me unapologetically. So stop judging myself. Like, stop judging myself. This was why I went to Unleash, like really releasing that judgment. Like, I drink wine, I curse, I'm silly, I like to laugh. Like, I'm very serious when it comes to business, because I really I take business seriously. So I'm a dynamic being. We all are dynamic beings. I don't have to be ashamed of any part of me. Any part of me. And that is a powerful place to be. Do not be ashamed of any part of you. No one is perfect. Everyone has moments where they're a mess. Everyone has a shadow side. Everyone has something quirky about them. It's okay. So being me unapologetically, and knowing that I can still step into my purpose without changing who I am. Growing, yes. Expanding, yes. Improving, yes. But I don't have to change who I am to live my purpose. Like, the universe didn't make any mistakes developing you. Like, no. It wasn't like, okay, we're gonna sprinkle this. Oops, we put this in them, and that was a mistake. Like, no. Everything about you is who you're meant to be. If it's something you're not happy with, you have the power to change it, in a sense of like, okay, I used to be judgmental. I don't want to be judgmental. So I'm going to release judgment. But when it comes to I enjoy this, and this, I don't have to change that in order to live my purpose. And knowing that you can be you in your fullest expression and still live your purpose. Okay. The next one is prioritizing self-care. This is crucial. If you don't learn anything else this episode, prioritizing self-care. And when I always say, ladies, I don't mean getting your hair done and your nails done. That's great. But I mean really taking time to make sure you're hydrating, to make sure you're getting the proper rest, to make sure you're aligning your chakras, because I know that anytime life challenges me, it throws off certain chakras, and when one chakra is thrown off, then the rest are a little wonky, and it affects different areas in my life. And so I believe in serving from your overflow, making sure that your cup is full. My favorite quote, what is my favorite quote? You can't pour from an empty cup, so you have to take care of you first. So making sure that your cup is so full that it's overflowing, and then serving from your overflow. So I literally drew a love tank on my whiteboard. I have a whiteboard, huge whiteboard. It helps keep me focused. And I drew a love tank on my whiteboard, and it's super cute. So I view it as like an upside down heart. And the reason why it's an upside down heart is because the wider part is at the bottom. And so I kind of split it in half, because we have others, specifically my romantic relationship, and then we have self-love. So self-love and self-care is important, but it's important for me to check in. How am I feeling? What do I need? If my love tank is empty, I don't have anything to give anyone else. I have to focus on me. And the reason why it's an upside down heart is because when your tank is empty, it's a wider space that you have to fill. And when it gets higher, it's less that you have to do. So if you're focused on keeping your love tank full, then you don't have to do as much work to fill it, because as it goes up, it's less and less work. So really powerful visual. And I feel like I want to create something that people can download to have this visual. I'm a very visual person, but making sure that your tank is full. So doing stuff to bring you back to a place of inner peace. Definitely sound therapy. Sign up for Abundant and Aligned Society, because it's energetic self-care. It's going to be that reminder to take care of yourself. It's going to be the reminder to do the inner work, to meditate, to breathe. So definitely abundant and aligned society is, obviously a great option. But other than that, making sure you're taking time to breathe, making sure you're taking time to get the proper amount of rest. So many people are sleep deprived. So many people are dehydrated. And so we're operating at 40% when we could be operating at 100%. So making sure that if you're serving, you have to take care of you to be able to show up your best to serve. So prioritizing self-care, so important. And then last but definitely not least, okay, so this is the most important one, is to enjoy the journey. Enjoy the journey. Sometimes I am a hot mess, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna own this hot mess and I'm gonna vogue around my house because you know what? I'm human. I'm human, and we are meant to enjoy our human experience in this time, space, and reality. If we're not enjoying it, what is the purpose? What is the purpose? So find somewhere in your life where you can savor the moment of where you are right now. And yes, I want to buy a house. And I have a lot of stipulations of like this big, beautiful house that I want. And I always want things. I'm always striving for things. But I make sure that I find a way to enjoy where I am in this very moment. So when I'm sipping some wine, I sip it really slow and just enjoy, just soak up that moment, savor that moment. When I'm watching the sunset off of my balcony in my apartment, I savor that moment. Like, yes, I'll be in a house soon, but right now, I love my building. I love my balcony. I love watching the sunset from my balcony. I love my view. Savoring the now, enjoying the journey. The more you enjoy this segment, the better the next segment is going to be. And it gets hard. Life kicks my ass, but I still find a way to enjoy the journey. On days where I'm like, okay, life is kicking my ass, what will make me feel better right now? Usually it's ice cream. Usually it's ice cream, sometimes it's shopping on Amazon. And these are instant gratifications, but it's instant gratifications that I savor because I know, like, okay, in the big picture, things seem a little challenging right now. My business is, going through whatever transition, but what can I savor and enjoy right now? Enjoying the now. The more you enjoy this segment, the more grateful you are for this segment, the better the next segment is going to be. All right, you guys, really quick recap. So, Confessions of a Stubborn Vessel. I'm pretty stubborn, and I didn't want to step into my power, my sovereignty, my purpose. And for the reasons I listed, but the 5 things that I did to release the resistance and just own it. Like, I'm ready. Okay, let's do this. I'm meant to make an impact and difference in the world. Let's do this. And these are the 5 things that I do continuously. It's not you do it one time and poof, it's fixed. These are continuous things that I do. Number 1 is get clear on my standards and values. And I review them all the time because there's different situations that challenge you. So getting really clear on your values and standards. Number 2 is checking your ego, loving your inner child, telling your inner child you're safe, telling your inner child it's okay. It's okay. You're okay. You're going to be okay. It's powerful. It may sound silly, but it's so powerful. Number 3 is being me unapologetically, owning every part of me. Every part of me, even the parts, especially the parts that I used to be fearful of people judging, loving those parts even more. Number 4 is prioritizing self-care, keeping your cup full. That is important, keeping your cup full. You can't give to others if your cup is depleted. And definitely, last but not least, enjoying the journey. Savoring the now. The more grateful you are and excited about this segment, the better the next segment is going to be. All right, you guys, I want to hear from you. If you found value in this, if you resonate, let me know. You can definitely reach out to me on social media. Instagram, I'm definitely the most active on Instagram. So screenshot this, tag me in it, share it with someone who needs to hear this. And I want to hear your struggles. I want to hear why you have been resisting your purpose. Or if you don't know what your purpose is, let me know too, because maybe I can do an episode on discovering your purpose. So I believe we all have clear abilities, and our purpose is shown to us however we receive our intuition. I heard mine because I'm clairaudient. So maybe you felt yours, or maybe you saw yours, or something. So if you haven't discovered your purpose, and I think that it's an ebb and flow. I don't think that like our purpose is just shown to us once in life, period. I think that different time periods in our lives, it's meant for us to do different things, because I've lived a lot of life in my years. From my music, I was serving my purpose through my music because I was inspiring people. I was making people want to dance. I was lifting people's spirits. And then when I had my studio, I was helping women build strength, and physically and emotionally, because with aerials, a lot of women felt like, oh, I can't do that. I'm not strong enough. I'm not flexible enough. And I was helping them overcome their limiting beliefs and their blocks through dance. And then when I was coaching, helping people that's like, I can't have an online business, I can't do this, helping them overcome that. And now I'm doing the same thing through sound therapy, helping people raise their vibrations, helping people step into their power and their sovereignty, helping people expand their consciousness and allow more abundance in. I've been doing the same thing through every phase of life. It just looks a little different. So allowing yourself to expand your vision of what it looks like, you know? So it doesn't have to look a certain way. So I hope you found value in this, and I just want to extend my gratitude for this space for me to really be able to share my truth. And I hope that it inspires you to share your truth and just really own it. Own your truth and own your story, because your story is powerful. And that's why I do this. When I share my story, it gives someone else the courage to share theirs. So share your story with me. Tag me on Instagram. Screenshot this wherever you're listening from or watching. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, iHeartRadio, screenshot it, tag me on Instagram, and I definitely want to hear your story. All right, M&Ms, until next time, be decadent.
Thank you for tuning in to the Abundance Hack Show. I would love to hear from you. Leave your comments and questions, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of our yummy episodes. Every time you leave a 5-star rating or review, I do my happy dance.